In other words, if you don't wake up, brother, and realize that what you got, you ain't going to have tomorrow, and what you claim may not be yours next month, and if you don't get out of the road saying, I ain't never going to change, the future will run you over. I will give you one of Miles Munroe's personal philosophies. Here's my philosophy. If there's something you really want to do, you dreamt of it for years, and an opportunity comes for you to do it, do it. Here's why. Think about how long you're going to be dead.
Hi, welcome to today's edition of The Legacy of Purpose with Miles Jr. and my sister Charissa. We want to thank you for joining us today, and we want to get right into your questions. Again, we asked everyone to send in their questions over social media, and you guys did a really, really good job, so we're going to get into our first question. Charissa?
And we're going to do it a little differently. So, Charles, this question is for you. It's from Josh Samuel, I-89 on Instagram. What is the greatest life lesson you've learned about godly manhood from Dad?
I think one of the best lessons I've learned from Dad was taking your time and making every decision. I think for him, he always knew that the decisions that he made today affected everything that he was involved in tomorrow. And, I had to learn that because I always thought that, Dad would take a bit too long to make certain decisions or to answer certain requests. And it wasn't until I really studied why he was doing that I understood the reason for taking that time. So that's one of the things that I take away from him. Okay, this question is for you. This is from King Kina on Instagram. She wants to know, what's the secret to your being so relevant even in the absence of social media? Because you're not really anywhere on social media.
Actually, I am on social media now. I am on Facebook. You can follow me as Charissa M. Munroe. And so I've actually just started coming on social media in the last couple of months, and it's complex and complicated, but I realized that for me to be more relevant, I must engage in social media. So yes, I'm on social media now.
Yeah, she's finally listening to me. Finally. Here's another one for you. It's from Mogalem K. I hope I got your name right, on Instagram. And they want to know, what were the most important virtues that were instilled in you by your mother?
I learned two things from Mom by just observing her. She didn't have to say anything. She didn't have to tell me anything. I watched her be the best wife I've ever seen a wife can be to their husband. And you lived with Mom. Mom knew how to turn a house into a true home. And after Dad's been gone for so long, after he's traveling, after working a long day, he came home and was able to come home to peace, not a nagging wife. He came home to food cooked, didn't have to ask. And she left him alone, allowed him to decompress. And then she was just there. And it was just easy. Even the two of them, just watching her served him. And she really submitted to him. And I think it's because he loved her so much with God's love that she had no choice but to do whatever it is that she knew would make him happy. And so watching her allows me to see how I'm to be, the wife I'm to be to my husband, or even the sister I'm to be to you as my brother. I just learned by just watching her and observing the way that she is as a woman. And then the second lesson I learned from Mom, Mom is real quiet, but she's very observant. And she would watch, but she was that way, so when she did open her mouth, she was powerful, she was impactful, and she was influential. And so that's what I'm learning, to just be quiet, wait, and listen, so that when I do open my mouth, I can be influential, impactful, and powerful.
That's great.
So we have time for one more question, and it's from Ricardo Christensen on Facebook. I would like to know where I can get books and DVDs of Dr. Munroe's in Spanish.
Well, we have a lot of his resources available in Spanish, and you could get them from our website at munroeglobal.com. Simple as that. Life is like a series of changes. We must adapt in order to thrive. People don't resist change, they resist being changed. In this segment, my father talks about expecting change and change being the only constant in life. Let's tune in to today's message.
Please write this down. The 7 keys to planning change. The 7 principles for planning change. I'm going to talk about Jesus' principles, and you'll have to be here next week to get the meat of this. But I want to focus on this segment, understanding the priority and the goal of planning. The most evident reality in life is change. So write this statement down. The only stability and security you have in life is change. It's a paradox. I repeat, the only security and stability you have in life is change. Paradox. In essence, the only guarantee you have in life is transition. I can guarantee you things will change. That's a guarantee. Therefore, we must understand then that change cannot be avoided by any human or by any thing in creation. Plants are changing every second. Animals are changing every second. Rivers are changing every second. You can never put your feet in the same place in a river. Never. Because the river is like life. It's always moving. And therefore, change is something we got to live with. So here is my challenge to everyone under the sound of my voice. If you cannot manage change, you will never manage life. Young people, please write this down. If you cannot manage change, you cannot manage life. So I've come to a conclusion. Here's my conclusion. Life is simply a series of changes. You used to be 10, remember? You used to wear size 6. Oh, to dream again. You used to have hair. I mean yours. You used to not have breasts. You used to hate boys. I'm talking to the girls now. Only the girls. Change. How many of you have walked into the closet and just dreamt? Oh, to put that on again. And the problem is, you are so psychologically damaged, you still keep it. Somehow you dream somewhere in the future that somehow, by a miracle of God intervening on earth, you will wear that dress again. I got news for you. It's over. Give it away. Bless somebody. Some of you are depressed when you go shopping lately because you got to go to the wrong rack. You call it the wrong rack, and the attendant says it is the right rack now. Change. Life is simply what? A series of changes. You used to be married. Husband died, wife died, got a divorce. Your kids used to be home worshiping you as a parent. They're gone. Your son used to come to you for advice. He's getting advice now from his friends. A series of changes. And this is why life is so difficult, because we don't want things to change. The only way to stop changing is to stop living. And that is why our declaration for this year is very important. The Lord said to me, we are entering a season of drastic changes, and therefore this year is considered the year of change and new beginnings. Write this statement down. The most common word that will be used in this season in your life is change. It's already being used by many of you. Your job, your status, your relationships, your business, your career, your position will change. So don't anchor yourself to nothing in this season. You will find yourself literally having to retool your life. You will have to go back to school, some of you, to learn things you never knew because things changed on you. You may need to take up a career that you hated before, and now you fall in love with. Change. Why? Because the law of life is changed. I'm going to make a statement. I want you to get this CD so you can remember these statements. Number one, change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future. Even the present cannot be trusted because it just left you a moment ago. Second note to write down: if you want to make enemies, try to change something in your life. People don't want to change, and they don't want you to change, and they don't want things to change. And so the moment you meet a person who wants to change things, enemies are automatically created. And therefore, I want to read a statement from Dwight Eisenhower, who was the President of the United States, a powerful military general. I love this statement. He said, I quote, "Neither a wise man nor a brave man lies down on the tracks of history to wait for the train of the future to run over him." I like that. In other words, if you don't wake up, brother, and realize that what you got, you ain't gonna have tomorrow, and what you claim may not be yours next month, and if you don't get out of the road saying, I ain't never gonna change, the future will run you over. Therefore, your life is not in your past. It's in your future. So spend more time focusing on where your life is. Where's your life? The future. And what we're focusing on in this series is that you got to plan your future, or it will run over you like a freight train.
Wow, that was another enlightening teaching. In this sermon, Dad says, if you fall in love with security, you will never have an adventure. And you know, when I think of adventure, I think of taking risks, but that does not mean it has to be detrimental. It just means I've allowed myself to live with the absence of boundaries and limitations. That's what a well-rounded life looks like. So let's go into part B of this sermon and get more insight.
Helen Keller said this about change. Remember, she was mute. She was blind and she was dumb. Helen Keller said, security is mostly a superstition, end quote. Period. See the period there? Say it with me. Security is mostly a superstition. This is heavy stuff. She said, look, anytime you think you are secure, you are suspicious. That's a superstition. In essence, it ain't true. You are never secure. This is why you need to put your faith in God, because only God doesn't change. The man who says he loves you, you wait a while. He's going to change on you. The woman said, I'll never leave you. And then she changed on you. You know, when I teach marriage classes, I always tell young people, you know, they get excited about love and romance. And I tell them, look, if you're going to marry a person, always study their parents. A parent is a prophet. No matter how he looks right now, study his father. You're going to wake up next to that one day. No matter how she looks right now, study her mother. You will wake up sleeping next to that one day. So if you can't handle the mother and the father, don't fool with this relationship. People change. She goes on to say, it does not exist in nature. What doesn't exist in nature? Security. I was driving past the western part of our island, past Sanders Beach, and I still see the sand on the other side of the road. And I used to wonder, why did those cedar trees stay there so long? Their roots were protecting the shoreline. Nature was saying, I got this. And then we initiated change, but didn't do research. So every time there's a northwesterner or easterner wind, we're going to be scraping up sand because we change without planning. Change. Helen Keller says, nor do the children of men as a whole experience security. Avoiding danger is no safer in the long run than outright exposure. In other words, she's saying, look, if you're afraid to do something, do it. Because not doing it can change you anyhow. So if you want to go out and step out in faith and do something, she says, don't consider what you are at the moment secure. I will give you one of Miles Munroe's personal philosophies. Here's my philosophy. If there's something you really want to do, you dreamt of it for years, and an opportunity comes for you to do it, do it. Here's why. Think about how long you're going to be dead. That's how I make decisions. When I was first invited to go to Taiwan, Singapore, I always dreamt of going to the Far East, you know, the Chinese, and to visit those people. I was a little kid. And here comes an opportunity. And I had to travel 18 hours nonstop in a jet from Los Angeles, plus another 4 hours from Miami, another 1 hour from the Bahamas. 25 hours in the air. I kept thinking, that's a long way. And the Holy Spirit says, you're going to be dead a long time. So I told the guy, I'm coming. I went there to speak at the Full Gospel Businessmen Association. And all these Asian people packed this place. We went up to about 80-story high of a building. Powerful people. And the guy who was the one who invited us was a multi-billionaire. And when I walked in the room, my books were on the table in Chinese. If you fall in love with security, you will never have an adventure. Breaking away from the familiar is the only way to experience life. Some of you all came here to visit me from another church today. I wonder why you're here. Maybe the Holy Ghost talking to you, saying it's time to change what you're eating. Helen Keller is right. It's a blind woman. She says avoiding danger is no safer in the long run than outright exposure. So life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. There's a blind woman talking to you. One time they asked her on the news, they said, Miss Keller, you are blind. What could be worse than not having sight? She said, not having vision. You don't need eyes to have vision. As a matter of fact, eyes destroy vision. Because you end up living by what you see and not what you dream. Tell your neighbor, close your eyes and go to the future. Resisting change, therefore, is our challenge. Peter Senge says, people don't resist change, they resist being changed. I don't care what you say, this is what I was born like, I'm going to be this way. And you've been that way for how long? It ain't change around you that's the problem. It's the fact that there's no change within you. Another statement that I want you to write down. We would rather be ruined than changed. I'm too old to go back to school. Yeah, but you got to learn computer. No, child, I'm too old for that. All right. So we're going to encourage you to retire. We can get a package for you. Why? You'd rather be ruined than to be changed. We'd rather die in our dread than to change our way out of this mess. What you are in right now, whatever you're going through, should not be where you end this year. You must prepare yourself to make a logical decision. I'm going to change beginning today some things in my life to take me where I need to go. Here's one that I thought was interesting. Romans chapter 12 said it best. Be ye transformed. How? By the renewing of your mind. Now this is an amazing principle. The word transform here means changed. Notice what the Bible says is the key to change. It didn't say, be ye transformed by the things happening around you. Because you can't control them. He says, be changed by what? The renewing of whose mind? Your mind. In other words, your baby did die. But how are you going to interpret it? Your spouse did leave you. But how are you going to make it a prison? You did lose your job, okay? You lost it. You're going to stay home for 10 weeks crying about it? Make a note of this statement. You must change the way you think about change. Be ye transformed, be ye transformed. Not the things around you, be ye transformed. How? By changing the way you think about things. You cannot control most of life, but you can control the way you think about it. And the way you think about it controls your blood pressure. It controls how you sleep. I learned years ago, if you can't change it, go to bed. Don't stay up worrying about it because God up all night too. Let him worry about it. You sleep.
To order today's complete message in a 4-part CD or DVD set for your love gift of $50 or more, please visit our website, munroeglobal.com, or call the number on your screen. Or for your love gift of $150 or more, you can get today's package deal, which includes the Power of Planning and Change 13-part CD or DVD set, plus the accompanying books Overcoming Crisis and the Principles and Benefits of Change. Call the number on your screen today. Our team is standing by to assist you. You know, this is an awesome message. One thing I like about this particular teaching is that it teaches us to find something that we like doing and just doing it. It's as simple as that. Do what makes you happy. That's what I've done with my life, and that's what my sister is now doing with hers. We both are just doing what makes us happy, and we hope that you will choose today to do the same.
So thank you so much for joining us on another impactful episode on the Legacy of Purpose. We'll see you next week.
Munroe Emerging Leaders. This is a project from the heart of my sister and I. It's an extension of our family's core value, which is allowing others to use a platform to display their gifts and their talents. This event was established to connect like-minded individuals interested in developing their stories and talents to create success for themselves and in turn inspire and encourage others to do the same.
MEL 2017 will be July 20th to the 21st in Nassau, Bahamas. This year's cost is $200 per individual. The theme this year is Redefining Success, New World, New Leadership. We want you to come and learn, network, relax.
Be great. Greatness does not depend on a location, but it depends on a mentality. All great things begin as an idea. Success, it's predictable. The key to living a successful life, it's not luck, but it's principles. For example, the principle of business is exchanging one commodity for value. You get paid for the problems you solve. The greater the problem you solve, the more valuable you are. Principle is an inherent law built into creation. Be great.